the clans I want to go with today are these ones. We play Little Fate as our champion, so we can get a better feel for the nerfs. And we play with Awoken. Root Seeds or Restore. That is... I think I'm gonna go with Root Seeds. I think it works quite a bit better with Melting Remnant in general. Anyway, let's jump in. So, we are facing Seraph the Patient. We have Arcus with Daze and Incant. We have Telos with Armor and Rage. We have Molden and Sacred Wicks in our starting deck, so lots of Reform available to us. We have 8 Reform cards in our starting deck. And we have 2 Glimmers, which is nice for backline damage. I feel like with that much Reform, I don't really want to go with Eternal Flame. Then again, Little Icarus wasn't changed, so do I want to go with Little Icarus? And when I could instead be testing out the Endless Little Fate that was nerfed and see how good it still performs. In my opinion, she should still be very good anyways, but well, I guess we gotta find some different stuff to reform. Mark of an Exile. Well, at the second play will be 3 health, and then at the third play will be 4, and then will be 6. Or is it rounded up? There's no good way to word the has 50% attack while in play, but this doesn't count any buffs applied unless you resummon the unit later, in which case those buffs do count. It counts the reform buffs. Yeah, it counts the reform buffs, but Little Fate, this Little Fate will not get reformed. So no, that's not really that great. Mark of an Exiled, you know, that could just be scaling up, and it wouldn't really matter with the Endless Little Fate, but of course it would matter quite a bit with Rector Flicker, especially the Burn Bright variety. Well, we're not taking Mark of an Exile, so it's clearly Thornfruit here, and I'm not sad about it. Thornfruit is a really good relic. Saptap, Refracting Lenses, and Worn Grindstone. Worn Grindstone isn't bad. Refracting Lenses has 1 target right now, that's Sacred Wicks. We're not up against Consume Seraph, so we can't use it to heal in that fight. There are a few Consume cards that we would pick up, but less in Remnant, more so in Awoken. Saptap is good, and we have 2 Glimmer. Probably should go Saptap, but I'm kind of interested in the Grindstone as well. It's a pretty significant boost for quite a few of the units. So what does Little Fate provide us? It provides us with a jump block. It provides us with a frontline kill after a few turns. And it provides us with boss damage. We still need to solve the early game, kinda, the first few waves in a fight somehow. And we need to solve multiple big dudes in the same wave somehow. One Grindstone could help with that. More draw is probably better. So let's go with Saptap. It's not a lot of draw right now, and we might not even delve too much into healing, but just with the Glimmer it's already pretty nice. Ah yes, the Slay guys. We're gonna give him a damage shield. And then we're gonna remove the damage shield. That is kind of how that has to happen here. We can get a kill now if we use Sting plus Little Fate. That means we will be using Glimmer or a unit on the top floor. Glimmer wouldn't be bad here, but this guy is too tanky to die to a Glimmer anyways. I think I'm gonna go with this here. Put a Train Steward on the top floor to get the Collector and also take care of the Thruster Priest so we don't have to deal with the spikes. Play Glimmer on the bottom floor to draw. We don't have anything to reform, so let's go with the buff on Little Fate for now. We are 1 damage off of killing this Apprentice of Light. So let's make sure we do. We can kill this guy with the Sting. I'm actually gonna do the same here. We only have 1 target to reform, but I don't want that much reform. And this allows us to also... Actually, you know what? Still... Oh yeah, you... Little Fate dies to the spikes, so... We don't get to tank a hit. That's fine. Maybe I should have played a unit here though. Because I only have 1 unit to block with right now. And we kinda need a unit to block with. But that's all I need. And now we have another unit to block. This is going pretty well. Draft. Hello Drippings and Dripfall. With the amount of reform we have, we will never be sad to have a draft. Sting, Vinegrasp, Glimmer. Glimmer kind of replaces itself as long as we don't have too many in one hand. It could be good. But it also has an energy cost and kinda needs some upgrades to really become valuable. Let's go for unit upgrades. We can always at least upgrade the draft if we want to. Oh. Let's try out the new Thorned Hollow. That is not really synergistic with Little Fate. It kinda is. I could also go with Steel Singer, but Steel Singer feels a bit harder to utilize. I'm gonna go with Thorned Hollow. Now we kinda need a way to actually get them to regenerate. Cheetor's Hand. With Thorn Fruit, Root Seeds, and then Cheetor's Hand we might draw a bit too much sometimes. That is not necessarily a terrible thing, but it makes Cheetor's Hand a bit less valuable. Mold Bracers could be used to apply armor with Little Fate. Put her in front, kill something, get her killed, and then Mold Bracers. Could work. But I'm also not too excited about that. With the refracting lenses already gone, rationing skills is a bit less exciting, so I might actually go with Mold Bracers here. I'm not that excited. I guess Cheetor's Hand could be good. While it gives me more options, it doesn't speed up how quickly I draw through my deck, which can matter, especially when we are trying to draw towards a draft. So I think we're going for rationing skills here. Hi Karis, welcome. I'm doing well. Doing pretty well today. Do we want the large stone on the Thorned Hollow, or is that too large of a hollow. Certainly makes it harder to use other units on the same floor if we want like a draft behind or a little fade in front. We only have one space to do so now. That might not be a big deal, but it also might be. And we don't really need that many stats. I'm gonna give it some health and some starting spikes. Do I really go with this second one? Good luck with that. Keres, with your infinite. Still going for a max score run with that? Yeah, sure. Now we are looking for ways to apply regen to that. We don't have restores, so we are definitely behind on the power curve on Thorn Hollow. But Little Fade is a pretty decent unit. I want to be on the top floor, so Little Fade has time to weaken the enemies beforehand. If we play things like this, then we get to kill the Reconciler here. Two on the bottom floor, so we have something to reform. Yeah, I already looked at the balance changes, and some of them were really good, others a bit more questionable, but all in all I think they are pretty good decisions. We have 9 spikes, that's enough to kill the backliner at least. We can also kill the backliner this way, but Little Fade doesn't die, and I don't want Little Fade to be stranded in front of the Thorned Hollow. So I think it's time to settle her down in the backline here. Okay, we get the draft. Against this boss, we can only get one hit in with Little Fade, so it was actually not a problem that she was in front. So maybe I should have left her there. But we do have enough damage here anyways, with the 9 spikes. Another draft for an entombed explosive? I'll take another draft. Steel Enhancer, Bramble Ash, Glimmer. Another Glimmer. Maybe we take it now. Bramble Ash is very interesting. I think Bramble Ash is actually the better card for us. Paraffin Thug would be a fun essence to put into the Thorned Hollow. Make the spikes gain us money. That could be a thing, for sure. Wickless Baron is also not terrible. Kinda like that more, weirdly enough. And let's go for a relic. Firewall and Votive Key. I don't think we need Votive Key. Firewall is nice though. Generally a pretty good thing to have. Well, Extreme Stone and True Stone. Don't mind if I put those in my glimmers. Paraffin Enforcer, that would be the essence I could put in a draft if I was looking for that. Wickless Tycoon would be another way to make money off of the Thorned Hollow, although probably a bit worse than the other option. I'm gonna pick up a Paraffin Enforcer here. But I think what I do here is I put the... I could put a draft into the Paraffin Enforcer instead of the other way around. Make it a priority unit that way. But that's a bit harder to use. Let's see what we get here. Okay, suddenly I have a lot of space. I don't want to make it huge, and I don't think I want to make a draft huge, so this is the only real use for that event. So basically we have tons of space now, which is good. I like having tons of space with Melting Remnant. We can also be on the second floor now if we want. Paraffin Enforcer, where do you go? You could be here. I could just generally be on the bottom floor and probably will be fine with it. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Nice. We don't get damage on our Thorned Hollow that way. I don't care about your slays. Tell us. That kills the frontliner. 8 damage, so the draft doesn't get to attack, but it's a harvest trigger. Let's do this. Let's bring back the draft. That works fine. You, then we would need... Yeah, let's block your hit as well, so we take less damage. Actually, that will still be fine. Well, no room for all these units. Little Fate still dies. So does the draft. And then we bring back Fate. And win easily. Can we add a draft to that floor as well? We can. We sure can. Okay. Awoken's Rail Spike and Intent on Death. There is also Sacrificial Resurrection, but the other cards are so powerful. 1 cost, consume, give Little Fate plus 15 plus 1. It's reasonable. Not too exciting just now, but It's actually gonna be plus 30 plus 2, I think. Or is it plus 30 plus 1 still? How does it scale again? Scaling used to be a bit differently. Yeah, it's plus 30 plus 2. Sacrificial Resurrection is also good. You're definitely right about that, Amphi. It's probably not Rail Spike. I think Rail Spike is a bit underwhelming here. Getting Burnout on Fade, huh? It makes her weak against bosses is the problem. But in general, yes, that could sometimes be good. With the amount of reform I have, I could certainly use Sacrificial Resurrection pretty well. And I do have things like stings filling up my hand. So I can probably use it pretty effectively. Yeah, sure, let's go for it. It's interesting enough. Lady of the Reformed. No, I think we'll skip. What do we need? Usually how much draw are we getting? We're getting 5, then we draw a sting is 6, then we usually play a sting is 7. And Septep doesn't really count because we play a card to get that. 7 is our baseline, so I think we can draw one more. Didn't you already get one max core run, Keres? Ah, yes, working on the second. Card removals and unit upgrades seem very useful here. Let's take a look at what's on offer. Multi-strike is on offer. Now, do we want the Paraffin Enforcer draft combo to be a priority unit? If our floor is Thorned Hollow, Paraffin Enforcer, Draft, and Little Fate, that could work. We get slightly higher stats, but less burnout. I kinda like the higher burnout. I think we go with a Draft with the Paraffin Enforcer in it. We also give that a slightly higher burnout to start with. Burnout 4, right? Unit essence is plus 2 burnout. Plus 2 burnout. Burnout 4. That might be a bad number. Well, we can always let it die. I'm actually gonna go with that upgrade on the other one. Twice? That seems good enough. Just put a Battlestone on you? Or do I want to go for more upgrades? Merchant of Steel on the same side as Hurtle Sword, but there's also Hellwent on the other side. Yeah, I'm gonna take my upgrade now. Endless is not something we want, right? It is not. Let's remove a Train Steward and a Primitive Mold. No, 2 Train Stewards for now. We definitely want to go with this. Don't want to purge. No, I think we're good. Convert some of that health into extra money. Heaven's Seal. With haste. Yeah, I think we can do that. That means we are on the top floor for sure. Not with Little Fate, of course. She still has to die a bunch. You can cover for collectors that spawn on the middle floor. This first wave is gonna be a bit painful. Actually no. Not a problem. We can kill them all. The next wave though, the Clip Guardian here. 67 attack. Why did I play Thorned Hollow before Little Fate? Oops. Guess now I have to deal with the Ember Drain. That will help. That is the best way to do it? Or do we play Glimmer? That means Little Fate doesn't die. No, Little Fate still dies. Never mind. Do we need any of these cards? I think we kind of want a Bramble Ash, but we don't need it. So let's build a big draft. And I think now we're good. Let's bring back the big draft. Whoops. We can still do it. That is 5 damage. That's not enough to kill Little Fate. How do we do this? We can have Little Fate help with these guys and use the draft on the top floor. Do we want another draft? Not necessarily. That can go here. Let's make these cards go away. We do want to bring back the draft. Top floor is fine. Let's face the boss on the bottom. It's not gonna be quite enough just yet. But we have one more draft coming and it's a big one. That's 180 damage per attack. Yeah, that will do it. I don't have a lot of spikes, but I do have some. Sacred Wicks, Crushing Demise, Remnant Host. Crushing Demise is potentially very good. Invigorating Solution, Pyrogrow, Wildwood Custodian. Do we take Pyrogrow? I think we can, and we probably should. It's good. It's pretty good to have, I think. Spell Chain. that something we're interested in here? Could go on Crushing Demise. If we cost reduce it, that would be pretty good. Let's make Bramble Ash Piercing. And then we engage in some Pacting, put that Paraffin Enforcer on this draft. Let's see what we find in here. Oh, it's the reduced enchants event. I was hoping for regen. Regen would have been amazing here. I kind of want the heal effect for the Thorned Hollow, but that might not be that important. Rage. Well, we can't use Zap or Frostbite very well if we want the heal effect. Well, we could also, you know, use a Zap or Frostbite effect on the enemies, but I don't think we really need to. Let's go with the Rage. There is the heal. And increase capacity or increase money? Do we need increased capacity? That gives us the option to put more drafts on the floor, but with the Paraffin Enforcer gone, we only have 1 capacity units anyway, so it doesn't really give us all that much. I'm gonna get the gold. 20 gold each cast, that's not bad. Let's make it a spell chain. And let's dupe the Draft Enforcer. We have 155 shards now, so we better make sure that we can deal with whatever these guys throw at us. But I also feel we are in a pretty good position to do so. This is mostly why I got these Stunning Spikes, just so we could deal with backlines, even in cases like this. Why do we only take 6 damage? Shouldn't we be taking 2 plus 4 plus 8? 2 plus 4 plus 6? Oh, Harvest. So we are actually taking the amount I specified. Little Fate is not strong enough to kill this Sycophant just yet. Again, took the Ember Drain for no good reason there. It's a pretty early sack res. Now I wish I hadn't taken the Ember Drain. Because that would allow me to do some silly stuff here. And I'm still gonna consume some of these rather bad cards now. This wave is the one that is usually giving me the most trouble. Let's bring back a draft. With this draft in the backline though, I think we will be fine. Again, should have played a Little Fate first. Let's work on this guy. Who's available? Oh, it's just a train steward. I should have played Crushing Demise, and then I could have played Little Fate twice here. but that doesn't really matter. Yeah, crush a big guy. That seems good. Keep you healed up. I will try to play the leftover ones when I get the chance to. That's a lot of damage you're dealing. A little bit of a problem. We do care about our reforms next turn, so I'm not gonna play the Train Sword at all. It's not that likely that we actually draw back into it. We don't need that Crushing Demise anymore. A draft would be a better draw. And this is a easy kill on the top floor. Especially if we bring back all these drafts. Should have played the primitive mold first. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. Fatal Melting, Sacred Wicks and Memento Mori. These scaling spells can be good in this deck, but they are not really needed. Fatal Melting, probably more so than like Memento Mori, I think. Yeah, this boss is pretty funny to throw spikes at, but we don't have that many spikes. Is our main problem right now. Invigorating Solution. That is mostly gonna be good if it's in the same hand as Pyogro. Other than that, it usually overdraws. I'm gonna skip. Not seeing many healing options at all. I want the free removals and I want some spell upgrades finally. We definitely need to cost reduce the old magic if we want to play consistently. The holdover Crushing Demise could be funny, but I'm not sure how necessary that really is. Consume, I don't think we need that as much. Holdover Glimmer could fix my problem of not having enough healing. I'll do it. It also kind of makes the spikes a bit obsolete, but you know. Double stack is not available for us. Plus 10 damage hardly matters. I could get a cost reduction instead. I could get a cost reduction on so many cards though. I think the one where it matters most is Crushing Demise. You know, that's fine. We have a lot of money. What's in here? I should have looked at this first. Bramble Ash being free isn't all that bad. Do we need intrinsic on anything? Intrinsic Pyrogrow is pretty good. Intrinsic Sacres is pretty... No, it's probably best in the second draw. The first draw is a bit smaller. It has little fade, so... Intrinsic Pyrogrow is good. And I don't think we want to do any more pacting. Let's get rid of one primitive mold now and a train steer, because we have a lot of density of reforms in the deck right now. A bit more than is necessary. Arcus is going to be a bit rough. We need some decent damage scaling to deal with him. We need to mind our burnout timers. Days on the top floor, that's totally fine with me. We set up the Wickless, Hollow, the Thornless, whatever. On the top floor. Let's keep that train steward in the deck for now. Start healing you up every turn. Spells are disincentivized on the bottom floor, that's fine. Spells aren't really what I want to cast here. For the most part. You are worth a harvest if we kill you on the top floor, so that's what we're gonna do. Do I play the Sacres here? I think so. Can get rid of a few of these things. Get another draft in the reform pool. Days on the middle floor, that is a bit annoying. But I think we'll be alright. These guys on the bottom. Get my drafts back. There wasn't another one. That's fine. Do we start setting them up on the top floor? No, they don't have enough burnout yet. They don't die on that floor, but they will die on this floor. So let's make sure they do, so we can reform them again, and maybe then they're finally ready for a reform. Not much else to do here. We need some help on the top. Luckily we do have a lot of tools to help out on the top. Let's start out with this. Burnout 4. Waves remaining 4. That could be okay. Put them on the top floor and then reform them one final time before Arcus shows up. Maybe get... You know, what we should do is play Little Fate here. Crushing Demise. The heals. We need to play the other cards first. I want to get this guy killed. Top floor is looking alright. Little Fate is perfect on the bottom floor. And now that annoying stone is gone. Both a burnout 3, that's okay, I guess. Oh, the days. You know what? That's okay. Should I play that over the Glimmer? For the money. We have to wait a bit until we draw back into the Glimmer again, but I don't think the Glimmer is essential at this point. It's a lot of health to deal with otherwise, so let's remove some of it. This guy actually gets some significant rage now. Hi Nat, welcome! Burnout 6, waves remaining 2. Can we get you killed one more time? Yeah, sure. We can even just let you die to Arcus if we have to. The stuff burns out now. We do have a heal in hand. So let's utilize the effect to get things going. You need a bit more work. So we put you on the bottom floor so we can send you against Arcus. Maybe I should have played Sacres here. Doesn't really matter. You still have 5 stealth. We want to reduce that a bit. Seraph has burnout 4, this will have burnout 5, so let's put that one all the way in the back. Get rid of your spell shields. This won't trigger the spell shield actually. But this thing will. 36 spikes. Stealth 2 left. Gonna one-shot pretty much everyone at this point. Even that guy, yes. How much reform can we expect in the next hand? Not that much. I think that means we just play a little Fade. The Burnout 6 one definitely goes on the top floor. Does the Burnout 4 one do so as well? We'll have to deal with one stealth. We could put them here to get rid of the stealth. Let me think about this. Right now, with these two, how many do we have to reform? I think we are best served in setting up these guys on the top floor and actually even Little Fade. Because that gives us one more draw to draw into a reform. Wait, that was not the correct unit to buff, but it shouldn't matter. Yeah, we kinda just have what we need. Some more money, and we could even add another pretty big draft to the backline here. The rage scaling from these drafts in the back is gonna be pretty effective anyways. Intent on Death. Spreading Spores. Now that would be my regen. Do I want Spreading Spores spreading through the deck though? I kind of like the idea of that. Intent on Death is decent, but we don't really need it. We don't need Spreading Spores either. What could ruin us? Seraph the Patient one-shotting my Thorn Hollow? Unlikely to happen. What do we do on the Divinity fight? Do we set up on the middle floor? Then we might need a bit more healing. Yeah, we need a bit more healing for the Divinity fight. Spreading Spores is helpful, but it's not a huge amount of healing until it gets off. Although the holdover Glimmer with 32 and the Spell Chain Old Magic with 40, that's decent healing. I'm gonna go with the Spreading Spores. And do we want energy or do we want capacity? One extra energy, if we can cost reduce the Spreading Spores, can go a long way. Well, if we can't value stone it. Maybe we find a double stack or something? We have so much money, we should buy some relics here. Unit upgrades don't really matter. Firebox isn't bad, but oftentimes our first turn is the easiest one to play out. I don't think I want check strips. I definitely don't want melting spout. I'm gonna take the firebox and reroll. Wow. Wax or Snuffer with this little fade is insane. Like, really powerful. Prior's Cloak could also be nice. Does wing clippings matter for us? We have the Pyre Grow, we don't want the second one. Sacred Wicks, we don't really need a second one. I don't think it matters enough. Prior's Cloak could be decent. Especially in the Divinity fight, I'll take it. And we go with Eternal Flame 3. For the Extinguish, gain 120 attack. Thanks to Wax or Snuffer. Rail Spikes? Hellhorn, Awoken or Stygian. I don't think we need Stygian. But we do have 5 energy. It could help a lot in the Divinity fight. Do we need Awoken's Rail Spike? No, but it's just good. And I don't think it's ever Spike of the Hellhorn. Let's go with the good old Awoken Rail Spike. 120 a turn, yes. Turn that extra pyre health into money. Non-boss enemy units enter with spikes. I don't think that's a problem at all for this deck. It might even be helpful. Hollow still goes on top. But to get rid of the Ember Drain, I'm gonna do this. No other target, and we want that extra draw. $125, that hit now actually matters. We should diversify our damage a little bit. That first Gilded Wing could actually be a problem. But surely we'll draw into something useful next turn. We do have the Endless Little Fade. That is a bit annoying right now. Like in terms of slowing down our draw. Start with this. And let's see if we can't deal with that Gilded Wing. Little Fate will always hit the steel wings. Yeah, I think we have to give up on killing this Gilded Wing, but we don't have to kill it, we just need to weaken it so it doesn't kill us. If we do draw into Glimmer though, that would be good. Priory's Cloak. That will do. That is perfect. Pretty much ideal. We didn't play the Rail Spike this turn because we're in a spot where we had to play some other stuff to make sure we survive. And we might be in a similar spot for 1 or 2 more turns. For sure. Okay, this is a bit more difficult now. 19 health, huh? That still works. Then we put both drafts in the back. It's gonna add up to some damage. And this will finish it off. Good enough. We keep getting tested, but now we have the Glimmer actually, so the top floor can kinda stand on its own. For the most part. Is that too much reform gone? A little bit too much. Oh, we don't need the draft right away. Can play this first. This draft will die to the spike, so the Ember Drain is not gonna matter. And we also have a lot of Ember in general. Let's make some money. That should usually be our priority. $83 times 2. That's a pretty scary number to read on an opponent. If your enemy can just, you know, destroy a Thorned Hollow in a single turn with 144 health, that is pretty scary. Of course, trample as well. So it's just gonna destroy an entire floor no matter what we put there. Luckily, I don't really care. Like, just Little Fade once on every floor will take care of this boss. Let's remove that multi-strike, you don't need that. Let's draw through our deck more quickly. So that we might have a small chance of still seeing the old magic again. Didn't happen here though. That Little Fade got quite big. Votivary Sacred Wicks Remnant Toast. I don't think we need these. Pyre Shards, Wildwood Custodian and another Bramble Lash. I don't think we need these either. Time to spend all that money. I kinda want spell upgrades, but the juicy things are on the right side. It's just because of spreading spores that I want spell upgrades. We don't have to use spreading spores. Removals are so good. Still. Cursed Vines. We won't always have space in hand. Hellspanners can be nice. Traitor's Quill. Does it matter? Matters a little bit. Doesn't trigger on Sacrificial Resurrection. Edge would, but this is when a card with Consume is played. Not when a card is consumed. Sacred Wigs. We have like 3 consume spells. It's not that much. I don't think we want Traitor's Quill here. I'll go with Hellspanners. This is good. And this is good. Large Stone for the Train Steward. Nope. I think it's Unstable Vortex for the Train Steward. And we remove a Root Seeds. Because we don't want too many of them. What's our dupe? Well, let's take a look at the Divine Temple before we decide that. Do we want to make Spreading Spores free, or do we want to draw 2 extra cards with Rail Spike? I feel like Rail Spike is already drawing us enough cards. I will actually buy a Purge Stone on a Root Seeds here. It's a bit late to Purge, but you know. Just dupe the Rail Spike. And then, do we want another relic? Nope, we don't have tombs. Gonna purge 1 more Root Seeds. 1 more Primitive Mold. And a final Root Seeds. Yes, they replace themselves next turn, but the attack buff is so small. We're better off just not having them. Okay. It's time to fight Seraph the Patient. Kinda respect Seraph being here on the top floor. That is somewhat scary. But we do have so many jump blocks. The problem with those is... no, I don't think jump blocking is what we want to do. I kinda want to be on the top floor. Maybe it's... jump blocking the first turn. And then stop doing it. Wait, it's trample anyways. Never mind then. We are not gonna jump block. Let's start healing you up some. I kinda have to play these drafts. Get them all killed here on the bottom floor. Draw 5. Start healing you up. Buffs go on the drafts. It's the problem right now. We have 2 melee weakness, and you will hit for 138 or something like that. We don't have the health to survive. And you have trample. Although I don't think trample triggers melee weakness. I don't think it does. So if we get you to hit someone else first, that might solve our problem. I am not sure though. Yep, that works. We only take 34? Oh, the other thingy trigger. Yeah, that's the official name. Harvest trigger. Should have used Crushing Demise this turn, I guess. I want to keep it around. This draft doesn't really matter. Do want to reform those though. And mostly I want to reform them. I don't need to play them. $35 attack, yes. That's totally fair. I want to draw the extra cards, so I'm not gonna sack res all of that. Just gonna go for a single draft here. I think we're on a nice track here. The gold doesn't really matter anymore, so... we can draw 4. We don't have the space for that. Don't really want to throw tons of units on the bottom floor right now, so I won't. Let's draw 3. It's pretty good. I will throw 1 unit to the bottom floor though, because I really want to reform that a bunch of times. So that it's got enough burnout to be usable. We got some regen now, a decent amount of spikes mostly. With remaining 2, let's assemble the drafts and get them ready on the bottom floor. And that's probably not the ideal order, but I don't really care. We can wipe out that top floor with a Glimmer pretty easily. And do a jump block with Draft to prevent the melee weakness from triggering. How much damage is this? That's probably worth. Maybe I should have actually cleaned up all these spikes, stings, instead of playing them. Let's get you one more upgrade. You actually have a decent amount of health. That matters, so the drafts actually get to their attack off. And now we set up the top floor. Burnout 8, I should have played this one first, so I could choose my draft there, but that should be fine. You will actually get one shot, is the problem. And you will not only get one shot, but you will one shot everything behind you. I guess Little Fate is pretty much big enough to one shot Seraph though. Well, one shot to finish off Seraph on the top floor. Like, we just need Little Fate in front and then you won't get one shot and everything's fine. There we go. That was a bit of a puzzly fight, but that's just how it goes with the reform against Patient. Divinity will probably be easier in terms of execution. Where do we put the Thorned Hollow? Actually, before we play the Thorned Hollow, we should play the Pyrogrow and then Awoken's Rail Spike. Probably bottom floor, right? The rules are different in this fight. Trample does mean less effective jump blocking. I wonder if we even want these to die. Yeah, I think we do. At least some of them. This one shouldn't be here. Not just some of them. We save this rail spike for another turn. That was a very good setup turn. Glad to have this Piercing Glimmer and this Piercing Order card. Again, we don't need to play these, we only need to have them die, and they do die when they get Sack Rest. This one does survive a turn up here. But we need some more damage on the bottom floor anyways. So might as well send it there. chains. Let's see what we draw. You know, that's actually not a problem. I forgot about Prior's Cloak again. Prior's Cloak has been really useful this run. We just reform everything here. Play these on the top floor. Wrong order. Should have played the one that dies first. Pretty good. Bottom floor doesn't even need Little Fate anymore, so we can put her on another floor to dish out some damage to the Divinity. She does, however, die on the bottom floor, so... I think this is the final time I let a draft die. Now they go on the bottom floor and start actually dishing out damage. This is a bit weird. I can't trigger health banners before I play the rail spike. There we go. Got some reform action going. And I think it's time to let the Little Fate do her own thing in just beating up the Divinity. These drafts with our growing rage stacks are gonna become a pretty powerful force in pretty much no time. Looking good. Can we get the kill here? We are quite close. Draft is mostly to buff the other drafts, and there we go. That's a kill. I like drafts. Drafts are fun. Drafts are good. Well, this Little Fate is still busted. It's the nerf to the early game. I don't know. It still felt pretty strong in the early game, but if it still felt pretty strong, then the nerf was probably justified. If she didn't have the nerf, if she wasn't nerfed, then I don't think that would have changed much. We didn't take a single point of damage the entire run. took all the trials and we went to 215 shards. So you definitely can't say I was holding back. But this is just a really powerful archetype. The reform replayability, a lot of the difficulty in the DLC with the shards coming in is that you have to be able to deal with higher damage output from the enemy. Sure, they get tankier, but their tankiness is like, yeah, it goes up by like 30%, maybe 40% overall, something like that. Maybe not even that much. The damage output they do though, that goes up by a lot. Like, some of the units gain sweep, some of them gain spikes, some of them gain an additional multi-strike, some of them gain their first multi-strike, which effectively doubles their damage. Looking at you, Lightwings. And just the Divinity itself deals a lot of damage, so the defensive factor definitely changes a lot. Although the Divinity also tests your damage dealing capability quite a bit, because these waves are really tanky with sometimes 3 frontliners. But you know, that whole damage thing doesn't really matter when you want your units to die, especially this little Fate, who is quick. So you can't even counter her. She just kills someone and then she dies. And guess what? She comes back even stronger. She is really, really good. Like, ever since they gave her quick, she's been kind of insane. You just need some way to clean up the rest of the stuff. And drafts can do so really, really well, especially if you can put them behind something tanky like a Thorned Hollow. It didn't really matter that this thing gained spike, it just mattered that it had a lot of health. The spikes were nice, did help sometimes, but they were not critical here. Although it certainly means that you don't have to use like an AoE spell in Glimmer. You could go with like Awake, you could put a bunch of restores, Restoration Detonation to heal it up. There are a lot of viable ways. Heck, even the Remnant healing spell could work. You just have to reform it from time to time. Or just have it with holdover and then the burnout doesn't matter and is actually a benefit as soon as Paraffin Enforcer starts going. We did have pretty good relics. Thornfruit and Zeptab were a good start. And we had a lot of money available. Waxer's Snuff, obviously. Priory's Cloak was really good. Problem with reforming is that the spikes go away. But yeah, as I just said, that the spikes didn't really matter that much. You don't need a lot of spike. It only needs to be able to kill a few backliners or something like that. That's enough. Yeah, I think it's just a generally strong playstyle, and I think it's why I would rate Melting Remnant to be a little bit above average in terms of where the clans lie. Melting Remnant and Stygian Guard, I think, because they are the most flexible Stygian with their spells, they can really pick their fights against the units very well, and Remnant with the reform, they can really shape the layout of their floors to their liking and have built-in scaling on that. With that, like, these clans are really probably my favorites in terms of power. I think I would say they are the most powerful, but I also like to play them because they are very flexible.